Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Quarters studio. Welcome to the show. So, giving one of your friends a gift can be a very meaningful thing. They might very much appreciate the gift. They might use that gift for the rest of their life. Or, in a game of Commander, you might give your friend a bad gift, and they hate you forever. But bad gifts are fun, and eventually they'll probably get rid of any negative feelings that they have towards you. Probably. Anyways, you can give these bad gifts to your friends with cards like Donate, Harmless Offering, and Zedruu the Great-Hearted. Essentially, these allow you to give target player control of target permanent you control. So by playing these, you're just a very generous person. Now, a lot of bad gifts decks are based around Zedruu the Great-Hearted because of that ability on the commander. But that doesn't mean that your deck has to be built around Zedruu. There are other ways to do it as well. On top of there being cards that donate, there are also cards that exchange permanents as well. So you're going to be giving your friend a gift, and they're going to be giving you one too. Everybody wins. What a great way to strengthen a friendship. So now let's talk about some gift options for your friends. A good consideration to start with would be a Lich card like Nefarious Lich. It says if damage would be dealt to you, exile that many cards from your graveyard instead. If you can't, you lose the game. If you would gain life, draw that many cards instead, and when Nefarious Lich leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. So by giving this card to your buddy, you're definitely helping them out. Now whenever they gain life, they draw that many cards instead. It just comes with a slight downside or two. If they get hit, they need to exile cards from their graveyard, and if they don't have any cards in their graveyard, they lose. And also, if it happens to leave the battlefield, they lose the game too. So any kind of target removal or any kind of a way to get rid of their graveyard might be detrimental to them. But I'm sure that you wouldn't do that to your friends, so let's move on to Forbidden Crypt. It says if you would draw a card, return a card from your graveyard to your hand instead. If you can't, you lose the game. If a card would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile that card instead. So with this card, you're helping your opponent get their things that they lost back. Isn't that a nice thing to do? Helping them recur cards from their graveyard is a very friendly thing. Now they won't be able to get anything else into their graveyard, and if they happen to not have a graveyard, they're going to lose. But that'll never happen. Anyways, next up, let's move on to Demonic Pact, which you can share with your friend in a very fun way. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Demonic Pact deals 4 damage to our creature or player, and you gain 4 life. Target opponent discards 2 cards, draw 2 cards, or you lose the game. So with this card, it's kind of like a second-hand donation. You're going to use those first 3 abilities because, again, you paid for the card, so it's only fair that you use it. But then you can give this to one of your opponents, and then they can use that 4th ability. You already happen to choose all the other ones, but at least you left something for them. But next up, let's talk about Cats. No, not the Broadway play, and not the movie. I'm talking about 9 Lives. It's an enchantment with hexproof, and it says if a sorcerer deals damage to you, prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on 9 lives. When there are 9 or more incarnation counters on 9 lives, exile, and when 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. So like Demonic Pact, this is another card that you can really share the experience of this card with your opponent. You might keep this around for, just a little bit, to get a couple of incarnation counters on it to prevent some damage. But at a certain point, you're gonna be a good friend and give it to your buddy. Maybe when it has, 7 or 8 counters on it. Or if you're kind of impatient, you can just give it to your buddy and then play a mass enchantment removal spell. Let's move away from cats though and onto dragons with Form of the Dragon. It has at the beginning of your upkeep, Form of the Dragon deals 5 damage to our creature or player. At the end of each turn, your life total becomes 5 and creatures without flying can't attack you. This is a very nice card to give to a friend. It lets them bolt something for 5, and it also makes it so that creatures without flying can't attack them. Just a slight downside that their life total pretty much always is going to be 5 throughout the rest of the game. But I'm sure they're going to survive when they're at 5, though. Creatures without flying can't attack them. Obviously, they're going to live through it. But then there's Transcendence, which is another fun one. It says you don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. When you have 20 or more life, you lose the game. And whenever you lose life, you gain 2 life for each 1 life lost. So with this card, you're just trying to help your friend gain more life. What a nice friend you are. Just make sure that you don't accidentally give this to your friend when they already have 20 or more life. Next up though, let's talk about creatures and helping your opponents with creatures. First up, there's Statecraft, which says prevent all combat damage to be dealt to and dealt by creatures you control. By giving this to your friend, you're just trying to do what's best for them. You're trying to protect their creatures. Now their creatures can never take combat damage. Just has the slight downside of making it so that their creatures can never deal combat damage either. But I'm sure they'll appreciate having this. And we can even give them some creatures to help them out with Steel Golem and Grid Monitor. One's a 3/4 for 3, and one's even a 4/6 for 4. Wow! They just also happen to have the text, "You can't play creature spells." But I'm sure you're not going to give this to your friend that's only running a creature-based deck. You just wouldn't do that, would you? And I'm sure you also wouldn't give Symbiotic Deployment to your friend that's running a Spellslinger deck. It says skip your draw step, and by paying 1, tap 2 untap creatures you control, draw a card. So if you give this to your opponent that has a lot of creatures, this can really help them out. But if you give it to a Spellslinger deck, well then they're not going to be able to draw. And then how about Kolfener's Plans? When it comes into play, you exile the top 7 cards of your library, and then you can look at and play cards that are exiled with it. You skip your draw step, and you can't play more than 1 spell each turn. So if you happen to play this and then accidentally give it to one of your opponents, it's really hurting you more than your friend, right? I mean, you just had to exile 7 cards out the top of your library, and now you don't even have access to them. And your friend's gonna complain because they have to skip their draw step and they can only play 1 spell each turn? Come on. But now let's move on to some really thoughtful cards that can really help your friends out. Grafted Skullcap's going to let them draw an extra card during their draw step, but there is a slight downside that they have to discard their hand at the end of the turn. But they get that extra card each turn. That's a ton of card advantage, right? And then how about Pyromancer's Swath? It says if an instant or sorcery you control would deal damage to a creature or player, it deals that much damage +2 to that creature or player instead. And again, just a very small downside to this one, having to discard their hand at the beginning of each end step. Definitely a helpful card for all those burn decks in Commander. Now, the friends that you're playing with care about you too, and if they do, they definitely care about your life in the game. So by playing Illusions of Grandeur, you gain 20 life, and they're going to enjoy that. Now, they wouldn't want you to lose that 20 life though, so you can just give it to them and they'll take care of it for you. And the same thing goes with Delusions of Mediocrity, but it's for 10 life. And what's 10 or 20 life between friends? But perhaps the best bad gift to give your friends is Aggressive Mining. It lets them turn their lands into card draw by just sacrificing 1 land, they draw 2 cards. Now, they can only activate this ability once each turn, and they also can't play lands. But yeah, who needs lands anyways when you've got cards? And again, when you're giving these cards to your friends, know that you're such a nice person, they really appreciate it. Even if they don't thank you at first for giving them Aggressive Mining, they will in time. Probably. Maybe. No promises. So, my apologies in advance to any playgroups that I caused some turmoil in by inspiring someone to build a donate deck. But yeah, have fun. And with that, this show has come to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know which of these gifts you'd most want to give to one of your friends and why. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks again and have a good one.